Janitor's daughter rejects all food except this poor black girl's cooking. He married her instantly. When billionaire hotel owner Richard Langley flew into Chicago to visit one of his newest properties, he never imagined his entire life would change before checkout. Dressed in a crisp navy suit with shoes that glimmered like polished obsidian, he strode into the lobby, commanding attention, not from arrogance, but from presence. Tall, distinguished, with a salt and pepper beard and tired blue eyes, Richard was a man who had built an empire but lost something precious along the way, the simple warmth of family. That morning, he held his 6-year-old daughter Ava's hand as she clung close to his side, her face pale and fragile. Ava had grown distant ever since her mother died of cancer the year before. She rarely smiled. Even worse, she refused to eat, no matter what chefs were flown in or what luxury dishes were laid before her. "Please, sweetheart," Richard pleaded that evening at the hotel suite, watching her push away a silver platter of gourmet pasta. "Just one bite." But Ava simply shook her head, tears pooling in her eyes. Richard dismissed the chef and sat in silence, his elbows on the table, feeling helpless. A man who had conquered markets and managed thousands of employees couldn't persuade his own daughter to eat. It broke him in places money could never reach. The next morning, Richard decided to visit the hotel's kitchen unannounced, hoping to find something simple, maybe comforting, that Ava might accept. As he passed through the service hallways, he noticed a delightful smell, spicy, warm, and familiar. It didn't come from the executive kitchen but from a back corner near the janitor's locker room. He followed the scent and found a young woman hunched over a small electric stove, cooking in a dented old pot. She wore a faded blue hoodie and a name badge that read, Tasha. A janitor's uniform was folded neatly beside her. She looked no older than 25. She jumped to her feet when she saw him. "I'm sorry, sir, I didn't mean to. This is just for my lunch break. I'm not using hotel supplies, I swear." Richard raised his hands gently. "Relax. I'm not here to scold you. What is that you're cooking?" "Just gumbo," she replied nervously, eyes cast downward. "My grandma's recipe. I make it every day after my shift. Helps me get by." A long silence passed between them. Richard thought for a moment, then asked, "Would you mind if I tried a spoonful?" Tasha hesitated, then offered a small taste. One sip. That's all it took. The flavor, rich and soulful, filled with spices, vegetables, and something deeper, something like love. He closed his eyes. It reminded him of the South, of childhood summers, of humanity. He smiled. "How would you feel about making a small bowl for my daughter? She's not eating. Maybe this might reach her." Tasha hesitated again but nodded. "Of course." An hour later, in the lavish suite, Richard sat next to Ava as she stared curiously at the humble ceramic bowl in front of her. No gold trim, no delicate garnish. Just warmth and steam. "Smells nice," she murmured, the first word she'd spoken that day. She took a spoonful. Then another. And another. Richard watched, stunned, as she devoured the bowl clean. "Daddy, can I have more?" she whispered. Tasha was invited to cook for Ava again the next day. And the next. Each time, she brought something different, mac and cheese, cornbread, jambalaya, all simple, soulful dishes that Ava ate eagerly. Day by day, Ava's face began to brighten, her cheeks gained color, and one night, she even laughed at a silly story Tasha told while serving dinner. Richard started joining them during meals. They talked. They laughed. He began to ask about Tasha's life, how she worked nights as a janitor while studying part-time at a local college. How she was raising her younger brother alone after their parents died. How food, for her, was more than sustenance. It was survival. It was love. "She's amazing," Ava told her father one night. "She makes me feel like mommy's hugging me." Richard's eyes welled with tears. For the first time since his wife's death, he felt warmth return to the frozen spaces in his heart. One evening, after Tasha finished cleaning the suite and packing her pot, Richard stopped her at the door. "Tasha," he said softly, "I know I'm your employer, and I don't want to make you uncomfortable, but would you consider joining us for dinner tomorrow, not to serve, but to eat? As a guest. As family." She stared at him, eyes wide. Yes. I'd be honored." That dinner changed everything. They talked for hours. About loss. About childhood. About dreams. Over the following weeks, their connection deepened, not just Ava and Tasha, but Richard and Tasha, too. She didn't treat him like a billionaire, and he didn't treat her like a janitor. They were just two people finding comfort in each other's humanity. One Sunday, Richard invited Tasha and her little brother Malik on a picnic with Ava. Watching the two children play together, laughing, running, free, Richard turned to Tasha and took her hand. "You saved my daughter's life. You brought her back. And somehow, you brought me back too." Tasha blushed. "All I did was cook." "No," he said, voice trembling, "you loved. Through every meal. Every word. Every moment. And I've fallen for you in every one of them." And right there, under the golden sun, as Ava giggled in the distance, he asked her a question not with extravagance, but with sincerity. "Will you marry me?" Tasha stared at him, speechless. Tears shimmered in her eyes. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes." Their wedding wasn't grand or extravagant, it was warm, full of homemade food, laughter, and dancing. Ava stood proudly beside Tasha, calling her mom for the first time that day. Richard, the man who once believed success meant towers and titles, had discovered the richest moment of his life kneeling beside a gumbo pot in a janitor's break room. Moral of the story. Love isn't about wealth or appearances. Sometimes, it's hidden in the most unexpected places, in a simple meal, a kind gesture, or a heart that gives selflessly. And sometimes, the people we overlook are the ones who can heal us the most. Heartwarming message. In a world chasing fame and fortune, remember, kindness still holds the greatest power. One act of love can change a life, or two, or three.